Hello, my little smut muffins and romance connoisseurs. Welcome to Beth's Naughty Reads. Today, I'm super excited to tell you about Melody Joanne's Creations Captive. Before I get into the book, let me tell you a little bit about Melody. Melody is a Canadian author of dark romance novels. She loves to write about unhinged, strong female characters that will have you laughing one moment and then wondering if the author might need therapy the next. When I was reading through her information, she sounds like a very busy woman because she says when she's not wrangling her three children, she's either writing or binge reading, which she can do again because she just finally wrapped up her PhD. You guys, it's in biology. She's wicked fucking smart. In the warm weather, or when warm weather sets in, she likes to plant fields of flowers and adopt more animals for her hobby farm. I love that she has a hobby farm. She also says that she writes because she can't afford her book addiction, which we all understand because we all know the prices of books these days. So, back to the book. So, Creations Captive is a romantasy and it is book one in the Dark Souls trilogy. And really, I should say it's a dark romantasy. So, that's how it casts itself. We have the female character. The main female character is Vivian Ryan's. Vivian is a timid, she people pleases to a fault. She always tries to make everybody happy, and it's because her mother is a horrible, horrible parent. She is the reason why Vivian is the way she is. She has taught Vivian to think that she's always the problem and that she ruins everything. So she wants to stay small and out of sight. She shoves all her feelings in a box, which we know eventually blows up, right? Like you can't do that forever. And then she experiences a tragic event in high school, which changes her life dramatically. But she also begins to be able to see dead people, which is something she developed in high school as well. She is later told that she's a keeper, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And she is told that her destiny is tying her, let me try that again. She's saying that her destiny is tied to what this keeper, is supposed to do, and she doesn't like the idea. She feels that she should be the master of her own fate, so she decides she's going to fight destiny. The main male character is Leon. He is a destroyer. He was a creator before, and I'll tell you guys a little bit more about that down in the story. Um, but he was switched earlier in his life because of some acts that he did. He believes Vivian is his lover from a former life. He feels Vivian belongs to him and will do nothing or will not let anything or nothing will stop him from getting what he wants. He uses their bond in a very manipulative way. So we'll see a little bit more about that here in a second. So when the book opens, we find her friends call her Vivi. We find Vivi walking home from school when she experiences her first ghost. She's kind of walking down, minding her own business, when all of a sudden this gray, ghosty looking young girl gets in front of her and stops her and is giving her signs. She doesn't quite understand, but because of the direction the ghost is in, she turns around and runs the other way. This ultimately saved her life. The other direction, there was a catastrophic car accident where a pedestrian was killed. And if she'd gone that way, she also could have been killed as well. That's also the moment where you see really how terrible her mom is. Her mom, when she finally does get home, because she's running about 30 minutes late, is furious that she's taken so long to get home because she wasn't able to tell people where she was or answering their questions. So it makes her look bad. And so that's just kind of her mom's attitude throughout the first part of the book. A little later, she goes to prom with her best friend Emily and his twin brother Jackson. That same ghost shows up again and kind of starts trying to give her those cryptic messages that she finally deducts means you shouldn't get in the car. So she texts Emily and says, "Hey, we should walk to prom." And Emily kind of argues with her about, we're all beautied up. You don't walk in these shoes. And they keep going. And eventually, she tells Vivian, "Okay, we'll meet you at prom." However, her and her brother still decide to drive, and they end up in a car accident where her brother dies. Fast forward a couple weeks, and Vivian is back in school. She has not seen Emily since the accident, and upon their first run-in, Emily is horrible to her. She blames her for her brother's death and tells her that she either caused it or she's a witch and knew about it and didn't stop it enough time. So later that same day, she gets kidnapped by people in masks and they tie her around a tree. And once they get her around the tree, the main leader starts talking and she recognizes Emily's voice. And Emily tells her that they have to punish her. And so they start stoning her like true, Boston witches stoning her. But before they do that, they tell her if she survives the stoning and she goes to the cops, they'll come back and get her and make sure they kill her this time. So this last episode really transformed who she is even more. She becomes a recluse. She doesn't leave the house for the next 2.5 years as she finishes high school. The minute she gets an acceptance for college, she leaves, and she can't get out of there fast enough or far enough. So once she gets there, she actually starts living a life. She has her places. She's got her coffee shop, her favorite sandwich shop. She has friends. She has three amazing people in her life, Sarah, Isaac, and Connor, who have really helped her blossom and have brought her along with them. They are also, or she, I should say, also discovers that her power is also changing again. Not only can she see ghosts now, but she can see faceless creatures who are pretty grotesque. She doesn't understand what they are. And one day she decides to finally confront one and she uses her powers, and that creature turns into the person they were before they died. And she is able to release their soul so that they can move on. After all this is occurring, she and her friends are having a surf day. So she decides she's going to learn how to surf. And while they're out there and she's waiting in the water, a storm blows in. And the storm has got pretty choppy waves and it continues to pull her out. And she begins to start to feel this pull in the water, and she begins to notice these blue tendrils coming out of her hand down into the water. And she's really curious about what those are. She's just about to go under when Sarah pulls her back to the shore, kind of scolding her, that she could have gotten herself killed. What was she thinking? And it wasn't that she wasn't thinking, it was just the pull to go down there was so much stronger than her, her smart thoughts. Fast forward a little bit, but they've done a Ouija board night because they all thought it was fun. And this event has opened channels to other realms. And she is visited by who she thinks is a ghost, met Need, who can talk to her, to learn that Need is in charge of keeping good and bad, light and dark, kind of balanced. And Vivian is a key to help keep the balance. She learns what a creator and a destroyer means. And a creator is somebody who basically builds civilizations. They, help develop it. They help with the technology. They help it thrive. They help it, build and grow. A destroyer, exact opposite, right? So if that area becomes too good, they are sent in there to destroy the civilization, basically. And she also learns she's a keeper, and she is a keeper of a destroyer, which means that she is linked to this destroyer because um, creators and destroyers are bound by fate, and because she's tied to one of them, she's therefore bound by fate. She later goes that day to find out what that pool was, and she goes into the ocean, and even though she feels like she's going to drown, the pool continues to pull her down, and she doesn't go back up. And right on the verge of passing out, she finds a sphere with a sleeping person in it. She touches it, and the person in them transports them back to the beach. In comes Leon. This is who is in that sphere. He tells her that in a previous life they were lovers. He was a creator who was turned to destroyer because of his previous actions. When Cassandra, the lover, gets killed in this war, he kind of loses it and he blows up Atlantis. He's the reason why Atlantis sunk. So he has become a destroyer. And while she feels that pull, she just doesn't feel that it's real because she's not Cassandra. And so he can't possibly be in love with her or her with him. So she really starts to struggle with that and give him a hard time about it. He continues to kind of try to talk her into it. And she begins to realize that when she's fighting this pull, she has sharp pains in her brain, almost like a hot dagger is getting shoved into her head, as well as she gets this really bad brain fog. So, however she's thinking or whatever conversation she's having, disagreeing with it, she kind of forgets about it. And it goes away, and she goes back to being very driven to Leon and really wanting to please him. Like I said, he is a very possessive, dominant person with Vivian. He's always trying to convince her to accept the beyond because she won't. because again, she doesn't believe it's real. This is where we begin to see a different side of Leon. He is pushing her, um, like, or punishing her for not claiming the bond. So he ends up. It reminded me a lot of another book I read. I'll tell you about in a little bit. But he basically traps her powers and tells her he's leaving, even though he knows that the separation of the bond will hurt her. He doesn't give a shit. He leaves her. He thinks it's going to teach her a lesson and drive him into her arms. So while this is happening, she goes out and she's so hot. She just wants to find the ocean. She finally finds the ocean and she's in there when all of a sudden she feels somebody pull her, cover her mouth, and says, "It's time to go." And she's gone. And that's the end of book one. So it very much ends on a cliffhanger, which is great. It's okay. All three books are out. Honey, I see your picture. What's up?
This is the problem
Uh-uh.
with playing with a Ouija board.
Mhm.
Quit with the Ouija
Nope, you're not
boards,
wrong.
people. We all know this. How
Even
many
one of our
ghost
friends-
movies and shows have we
Even one of her
watched?
friends said, "I don't know if this is smart."
Like, don't do the Ouija. The Ouija.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No, it's not smart.
So for all you book readers out there, don't give a shit. You're not allowed to do this. It's just bad juju.
Don't do it. You don't
telling
need to
you.
do it.
Go out and watch Ghost Adventures. Or
There you
something like that.
All right. So some some excerpts. So the first one is kind of the ocean scene that I talked about where Vivian sees those blue tendrils and just has this drive. So again, another faint tug on my hand, like someone is toying with the other side of the blue tendrils, beckoning me forward. I could go back to shore and pretend this doesn't happen, but something in my gut is telling me to follow, like an itch I can't scratch. I feel compelled to find out what's on the other side of the strings. Maybe whatever it is on the other side can help explain why I suddenly started seeing ghosts and why I was warned away from my death. I want. No, I need answers. Also, I've learned the hard way that ignoring cues from the supernatural doesn't pan out well for me. So, who am I to argue with the spooky lights who want me to go paddle out and deep into the dark ocean? Excerpt two is Vivian asking Leon about the tie and the pull she feels. And you know what, Greg? I think you should read this one.
You want me to read this?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Vivian asking Leon about the pull she feels. Then do you feel it too, like I do? I mean, Leon looks at me with bursting intensity that leaves no room for second guessing whether the bond is affecting him too. Vivian, he purrs, putting both hands behind his back as if to stop himself from reaching out for me. If I had my way, I would have already had you last night, over and over again. I would already have heard you yell my name with your legs wrapped around me while I was deep, very deep inside of you. And then again this morning, when you opened your eyes and looked at me with your innocent wonder, I wonder I would have taken you then, hard, until the only thing on your mind was pleasure. And right now, I would love nothing more than to slide that simply delicious dress up your thighs so I could kneel between your legs and taste you. I wouldn't stop until you came on my face.
I just thought because you're always so shocked, how fun would it be to have you read some of these?
I'm telling you, dude. The authors, how many of these? We've done 36 of these and
35.
30, whatever.
I've read over probably 1,800 books. Might be 18,000. But it still is fun to see kind of you played it off very well because normally I read that and you're like, holy shit. So you did really well. So a few reviews. So review number 1 is from Crystal Coast Bookworm. Loved it. She says, this book is one of those hidden gems that you don't expect to fall in love with, but once you do, you can't put it down. I found it purely by chance on Instagram when the author posted a reel showcasing the book's dedication, which instantly grabbed my attention. I went into it kind of blind, knowing nothing of the plot, and I have to say, it was an unforgettable ride. If you are a fan of the Bewitched series by Laura Testale or Akatar by Sarah J. Mash, Um, Plus, you enjoy mythology tales of good and evil, prophecies, and dark romance, and this is definitely the book for you. Oh, not yet. I don't want the clip yet. Okay. So I need review number 2. Couldn't read it fast enough. First, I'm not new to the book community, but I was in a reading slump. Took forever to finish books I knew I would typically love. I found it stressful. Been there, done that. Get it, girl. I believe you. Then I picked up Creations Captive and was hooked from the dedication page. Definitely prepared to be up all night reading, consumed and devoured it, and immediately started book 2. Suspense, mystery, tension, highly recommend. And then book review number 3 from Addictive Dark Romances. She says creative captions was fast paced, intriguing, had the right amount of spice, and to find out what happens as it ends on a cliffhanger. It's one of the first dark romance books I've read. For me, it's a perfect balance right on the edge of darkness without falling over the cliff. It features dubious content, so read the triggers. I'd say it's a great intro into the subgenre. So that is some of the reviews. Sorry, we're doing other technical stuff too while we do this. So thank you for being patient with us. So my ratings. So first, let me tell you, we're going to show you this reel here in a second because I also found this book on Instagram by the author's reel. So give us a second, honey. Are you ready to do that? So I loved it. It immediately piqued my interest. This is the dedication for book 3. They do get spicier, and those dedications get spicier and spicier as you get through the books. But it definitely helped draw me in. Crazy thing, this book was already in my library. I've had it in my library since August of last year. So it's been sitting there waiting patiently for me to grab it. That reel, like post haste, I needed to finish. I finished the book. I was already at like 75% of the book I was reading, and I just jumped right into it. It's only like a 6-hour read, and I finished the first book in a day. Um, I was not disappointed. They get long, just so you know, they also get longer and longer as you read them. So I think the second one is 10 hours and the third one is 14 hours. I have gobbled them up. I'm already on book 3 and I just started the first book on Sunday. So they are definitely entertaining. I give it a rating of 4 stars. I didn't do 5 because it does take a little while to get into the meat of the book. It does take about halfway through the book for us to meet Leon and start that part of it. I believe and I feel I get it. It's important. We need the first half of the book to really kind of give Vivian the attention she needs, the draw of how her lifestyle is, what's happened to her to make her who she is. But it did take me a little while to get through that first half. I was struggling. So if you find yourself struggling, hold on. 50% into the book, way, way good. So, also, if you're a fan of Sarah J. Maas, and it's got her and Akatar vibes, and so there's a lot of similarities. So if you like that type of stuff, you'll definitely like this book. Um, you love that you don't really know who's the good guy and who's the bad guy because both sides are saying the other side is the enemy. Um, and Vivian's inner monologue is flicking hilarious. She's quick witted. She speaks at the drop of her hat, and it's really funny. Sometimes she lets them out, and she always does this thing where if she accidentally lets them out, she says, "What is wrong with me?" And then she'll spill whatever she was trying not to say. So, like for an example, one of her thoughts is silver linings are like hot sauce of life. You need to put that shit on everything, which I come from a family who loves hot sauce. And so we do, not we, my husband literally puts it on everything. So I totally appreciated that. I loved
It's
watching.
good.
Loved watching her find her strength, and the changes that she starts to go through as she begins to believe in her power. I will tell you, there is an extensive trigger warning list, but I didn't find this book super dark. I know I ventured into really dark books, so I felt like this was just the right combo. But I found the triggers sexy. So hopefully that helps you and you decide that they're not that bad as well and you pick it up. I will say the spice rating is a 1. It is a very slow burn. Um, it does pick up a little towards the end of the book, but there's really no spice in the first 60% of the book. So be patient. But once we meet Leon, some of the spice starts. Greg just read you.
I didn't have a one jalapeno.
That's fine. You made one.
Well, no, I need to make one. So
Oh.
just for your
Oh,
readers,
that's
out there,
right. I put a 1. We didn't have a 1, so I said just round it up to 2. Thank you for
It's a
clarifying,
rounding
honey.
error.
Yeah, so I said, okay, 1.5 I can do, round it up to 2. So again, once she meets Leon, the spice is good. A lot of good choking, a lot of dirty talk, but uses sex in the book to manipulate her, which is kind of hard to swallow sometimes. Um, Also, on a side note, I've always heard people talk about their ick words. I did not have one until this series. Pussy wept or weeping is now my new ick word. I never want to hear about a pussy weeping because I associate that with infected wounds and boils. So
that's disgusting.
it is gross, right?
That is.
So
Pussy weeping.
Yeah. She said
not
my pussy wept, and I was like, oh no, can't do it.
My pussy wept. No.
Yeah.
No. Oop, wrong thing.
But yeah.
I
So
never. God damn it, Greg.
What are
I
you
never
doing?
want to hear
Yeah, no.
you ever
No.
say.
I don't. A lot of people don't like folds, my moist folds. I don't get that one either, but it doesn't give me the ick like pussy
wept
or weeping did.
Down
So
to do that.
if you already hadn't checked out her social media or Melody's social media, you can find her on Instagram as melodyjoan.author. Facebook is melodyjoan.author, no spaces. And then on TikTok is author Melody Jones. She also has a great group on Facebook called Melody's Midnight Musing, Dark Romance and Dark Romance. And it's on FB. You can find it. You just have to ask permission, ask 3 simple questions, and you're in. Go out and give her a follow, as well as check out what she has going on out there. She does have some other books out there that I look forward to reading, and so I am sure that you will find something that tickles your fancy. Also, if you have some time, go check out The Bar is Open with Beth and Greg. It's a show I do with the Hubs, who you guys are starting to see a little bit more of. We sometimes get a little obnoxious, definitely inappropriate, and curse a lot, but we're silly and can always promise you a really damn good time. So until I see you guys next time, I hope you have some enjoyable reading. And if you get a chance, check out this book. Bye.